Good afternoon, everyone. It's Kirsten here for another Spa Business Break here on Thursday at noon Pacific. I'm here every single week, same time, same place, to give you some business advice about your spa. So today's topic has to do with hiring for management. Now, I know you are all struggling for hiring, just as far as your service providers or your guest services. And when you're in a position where you know you need to hire a spa manager, that can put a huge amount of stress on you, on top of the stress that you already have about just your general recruiting. Because when it comes to spa management, you're usually the one, and there gets to a point where you know that you just can't handle the leadership responsibility and you need to delegate. Because of course, when you're in that leadership position, there's going to be all sorts of different tasks that you're responsible for, but not all of them need to be done by you, the owner. So if you're at this place in your business where you need to hire a spa manager to support you in your own leadership role and to start this process of leveraging your business in growth, as far as growing a team, then this topic may be triggering you as far as like, oh my gosh, I'm stressed out, I'm worried, I just don't know kind of where to go as far as, where to start as far as hiring a spa manager. So what I know is that anytime in our life when we are struggling to make a decision, and in this case, the decision is, how do I get over my fear of hiring a spa manager? It always means that we don't have enough information. And when we don't have enough information about a situation that's charged, then it's really difficult to make a solid decision. And when it comes to hiring a spa manager, you need to make a solid decision because there's a lot at stake here. So you probably have a couple questions, and I wrote down a couple that I'm pretty sure you have running through your head right now, is as far as hiring for management. The first thing is, like, do I hire from within my team that I already have, or do I hire an outside manager? Well, as far as hiring within your team, you just may not have team members that are suitable for a management position. You may have team members that seem keen about it, but when you are watching their performance, not as a service provider, but just their own personal leadership within the company as a service provider, you might be seeing some patterns that doesn't make you feel very trusting to move them up into a leadership role. So just because somebody says, I'm interested, doesn't mean they're going to be a good candidate. And maybe you have zero good candidates as far as moving people up into a leadership role. Then when you're thinking about hiring from outside, one of the, you definitely can hire from the outside, but there's also going to be some transition changes and issues that you're going to have to mitigate as well. Another question has to do with, if I'm hiring from outside, do I hire somebody who has had spa management experience or even just spa experience and is ready to take a step up into more of a leadership role rather than a service provider? Or do I hire somebody in management who has just business management experience? In my experience, and from what I've heard as far as feedback from other spa owners, is that it really does make a difference hiring somebody who has spa experience. This industry is just kind of quirky. It's got service, it's got retail. There's aspects and nuances that not, just like kind of a general manager who's not in the spa industry, they just wouldn't understand those nuances. And that can be extremely frustrating for service providers. They start getting their back up. This person doesn't understand spa. They're asking us to do things or expecting things that just don't work this way. All right, got some little notifications coming up here. So that's not to say that it's impossible, but it is much more difficult to hire somebody who just has management experience but not spa experience. Another question you might have is, like, how do I train my spa manager? very much the same as you train your staff. And this is where I see a very, very weak place in most spas that are trying to leverage their teams. And that is their training program. They don't have one. A lot of times a training program is all up in the owner's head up here. They verbally walk them through, like in an orientation, they verbally walk them through some of the treatments, but there's never really this consistent, in-depth training program in-house that really becomes your own certification program. And actually, there was a question on my Instagram about this. And so, we really need to have documentation when it comes to training, whether it is just our general service providers or our guest services team. And even more so when we have a management team, we need to have documented processes for them so that it's not all up in your head, you're not forgetting anything, and that you have some backup so that if you do need to make corrections with your manager, it's been documented, you've already gone through it. And then you have some support for their coaching as well. So you definitely need, as far as spa management, you definitely need a handbook, just like you should have a team handbook for your spa. In your handbook, you're going to need your management policies and your management procedures in there. So that you can make sure that you've touched on everything for them when you're training them, and B, so that you have that support document and they have that support document after your training that they can go back to if they have any questions. The other piece of the question that owners have when it comes to training their manager is like, how do I train leadership? Now, it's not necessarily it's not the same as having policies and procedures for, let's say you've got your inventory is one of your categories in your handbook. So, you would have procedures for inventory of how you want inventory managed. With leadership, it's not like you have a step 1, step 2, step 3. With your leadership training, that kind of it basically piggybacks on the process training that you're doing. And what you're doing is you're coaching them along to teach them how to approach these policies and procedures with the lens of leadership. So, if you're looking for adding that next piece to your business, as far as adding to your management team, the big takeaway here is that you need to have documentation of your processes. You need to have documentation of the job description. There's a lot of spas out there that don't have any kind of consistent, like a job description. And so even for their service providers or their guest services, it's not written out. It's not super clear. So when we don't have job descriptions that are really clear, that means that it's really easy to get lines crossed. It's easy for expectations to get skewed, because if things are just verbal, it's open to interpretation. So if you're looking at adding a management team and you're feeling like worried and stressed and nervous about this whole process, I guarantee that you've got some work to do. The work is to create a handbook for your management team to document the job description. Start with that. What exactly do you want this person to do? If you're not sure what a spa manager should do, write out all the list into a list of the things that you do in your own management. Then take some of those pieces that you don't necessarily need to be doing and put them onto your manager's list as far as job descriptions. It's probably the easiest way to get started with that. But you absolutely need a job description for your spa manager, because the rest of your team also needs to know, like, what is this person actually doing? What are they responsible for? So that it's easier to have that flow of respect going back and forth as well. So management handbook, which has your policies, your processes in there. And then of course, with management, you're going to have regular management team meetings, talking, keep communicating. You're going to you quite possibly have a weekly meeting to touch base about what's happened in the week and looking forward as far as what needs to be, what can we do to mitigate anything in the coming up week that we see that needs work. And then you're also going to need to book time for, quarterly reviews, going through reports. There's also going to be times where you're going to want to book good chunks of time for yearly planning. Yearly planning is so much more fun when you get to do it with somebody else. So that's a real bonus of having a spa manager, is bringing them in on those management team meetings so that you guys can collaborate, so that you can delegate to them the things that you need them to do. They can, there's just that process of communication and collaboration. So it's actually a lot easier for you. So bottom line is, if you're nervous, if you're worried about hiring a spa manager, it means that you don't have enough information for yourself to make this decision solid. If you had really great job descriptions, if you have a great management handbook, and you've done a training program, I guarantee that when it comes time to hiring a manager, you're still going to have to go through the pain, the childbirth pains of recruiting and hiring, but you'll be much more solid on knowing what you're looking for because you have all those processes documented. You've spent the time going through them. You're super clear about all of it, and it's just a matter of finding the right fit for that particular job. So if you're struggling with finding management or knowing how to find a spa manager in your spa, for your spa, if you don't even know where to start with a handbook, even if you don't have a team handbook, you really need to start with a team handbook. And so if you I'm overwhelmed, I know I need to have, I know I'm going to be needing to hire a spa manager, I'm stressed out about it, then you can certainly contact me for support, and we can have a call. I can talk to you about, we can discuss what your needs are in your business, and I can give you some direction as far as what you're going to need to do to get going on that. But when we're in that place with our business where it's time to add a manager to our team, that's super exciting. But you want to make sure you set yourself up for success. And you want to make sure that you set up your manager for success too. Hey, Vasiglia, nice to see you. I haven't seen you for a little while. You want to set both of yourselves up for success so that you're not wasting time. Neither one of you are getting stressed out. And, there's going to be bumps along the way anyways. That's just, when you're working with humans, that's just how it works, but you want to mitigate it as much as possible. And mitigating it means getting organized with your documentation, being really clear about what those job descriptions are, and also being really clear about your business values. That's really where it starts. That's all part of that staff handbook too. All right, if you have any questions about spa management, feel free to pop it into the chat here, or you can send me a direct message. And of course, that invitation is open for you to contact me if you're really wanting to dig in about your spa leadership and how to replicate that. Then that's going to definitely be a conversation that we can have. All right, thanks for joining me for Spa Business Break today, and I'll be back here next Thursday at 12 noon Pacific. Bye.